Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're diving very deep into the ocean through the beautifully designed D3 by Duzu Watches, a watch that draws its inspiration from the magnificent yet critically endangered southern right whale, a large baleen whale found primarily in the southern hemisphere. Now sadly, these gentle giants were historically hunted to the brink of extinction, but are now protected and are gradually recovering, although still considered endangered. So this timepiece really is more than just a watch. It's a statement on conservation and our responsibility to protect these majestic creatures. Now inspired by the southern right whale, the design intricately reflects the strength and the grace of these endangered giants, blending aesthetics with, well, I guess purpose. And each detail of the watch, from its sculpted case to the luminescent hands, mirrors the elegance of the southern right whale. Now I was lucky enough to road test the D3 around the very charming city of Rouen in France, where I spent the summer. And it's a place packed with history, with its medieval buildings and the stunning Gothic cathedral, and of course the magnificent Grosse Horloge, a 14th century astronomical clock. So please do stick around to the end of this review to see the full walk around of that beautiful northern French town. And of course, I'd love to know what your thoughts are of this watch, so please do leave me a comment at the end of my vid and hit the subscribe button now for more watch reviews in the future. So let's get started. So just to reiterate what was said in the opening 90-second spec, the DW-D3 comes in at a touch over 13mm thick, including the crystal, 42mm in diameter, 42mm lug to lug, 22mm at the lug, with this FKM rubber strap tapering down to 20mm by the time it reaches the butterfly deployment buckle. And the D3 is actually the hero product of the Duzu Watches range and is available in Oceania, Australis, and the Antarctica. And with a minimalist approach to the numerals and indices, the dial truly becomes the focal point of the design, and for me, exuding both boldness and simplicity. The sandwich dial construction adds a sense of depth, while the generously sized circular hour markers, outlined in bold black, create a striking contrast that immediately draws the eye and is in amongst numerals at the 12, 3, 6 and 9. I mean, this design at first glance looks very quirky indeed, and perfect for those who like to stray away from the traditional indices and dial design. Now the combination of subtle yet impactful dial elements on this watch not only enhances legibility, but also brings a modern aesthetic too, and the absence of clutter, for me, ensures that every detail, from the texture of the dial to the precision of the apertures, can be really appreciated. And speaking of the texture of that dial, there is a matte finish to it which is designed to capture the texture and tone of a whale skin, further tying the marine theme together. You've got the cool Duzu logo under the 12, product variant above the 6, and the absence of a date window, further adding to the clarity and legibility of this dial. The hands of the D3 are inspired by the skull of a whale, creating a bold and contemporary look. Now the raised curvature actually mimics the jawbone of a whale, and well, what can I say, the hands look absolutely brilliant in my opinion. I mean, really brilliantly designed, offering you fantastic and a very unique design in your collection and on your wrist, but also quite crucially, absolutely spot on legibility. The second hand is colour matched to the dial with a black tip, adding another brilliant design feature to this really cool watch. Moving further out on the dial, and in the absence of a traditional outer bezel, you have this quite lovely bi-directional inner bezel, combining markers on that upper outer ring and numerals on the sloped inner ring. It's controlled by this crown at the 2 o'clock and also note at the 12 o'clock position a really stylish whale tail symbol and triangular markings, as opposed to a traditional and, dare I say, quite boring inverted triangle. And these much nicer markings are seamlessly integrated, adding, I guess, a bit of flair and personality to the overall aesthetic of this watch. The D3 features a dome sapphire crystal, offering both exceptional scratch resistance and durability, ensuring long-lasting clarity, and the dome shape not only adds a bit of a vintage charm, but also enhances the depth of the dial, particularly in certain angles. And to further improve visibility, especially in bright conditions, the crystal is treated with an anti-reflective coating, which minimises glare and reflections, allowing the details of the dial to shine clearly through from any angle, whilst also maintaining a sleek, polished look. Now, when I was wandering around the streets of Rouen, a city whose architecture is a striking blend of Gothic, Renaissance and medieval styles, with an abundance of half-timbered houses that line its narrow cobbled streets, this watch, this crystal, did not let me down whatsoever and offered me clarity and exceptional legibility. Okay, Lume lovers rejoice. The D3 Southern Right Whale uses top-tier Swiss Superluminova BGW9 across the dial, hands, bezel and crowns. Now in daylight the Lume looks like a crisp white, while in darkness it emits a sharp blue glow that's really striking. I mean, that choice of Lume is absolutely perfect for this watch. That blue is even striking in dark patches of daylight and looks utterly brilliant against that white dial. I mean, the design elements of this watch, the clarity of those elements and the placement of the Lume in certain areas just blends in absolutely perfectly, in my humble opinion. So yeah, utterly brilliant Lume choice and placement. Now the case of the D3 is a work of art in itself. It's made from 316L marine grade stainless steel with a mix of bead blasted and brushed finishes that give it a rugged yet refined look. The engraved weld baleen texture along the sides adds a unique tactile element that sets it apart from your typical tool watch, adding more to the overall theme and story behind the design of this watch. I mean, it's clear that a lot of thought went into making sure the case is something super unique. The sculptured, bellied shape allowed DW to sneak in some short lugs too, giving it a more compact look. 42mm lug to lug and 42mm in diameter means that you get a super compact, very rounded case without sacrificing any style points. I mean, just another mention of those fantastic smooth lines that mimic the gentle curves of a whale's bod. I mean, it's very subtle yet adds an absolutely brilliant aesthetic to the overall design of this watch. Functionality is obviously paramount and the D3 crowns don't disappoint. There are two screw down crowns, one for setting the time and the other for adjusting that inner bezel. Now both crowns are large enough for easy operation with a smooth screw in, screw out function. I mean, it's clear to see that this watch has two very large crowns, and for me the size really works. You can't have anything petite on this watch in terms of crowns, so yeah, like I say, it just works. There is a whale tail logo at the 2 o'clock crown, which I think looks pretty neat, and the brand insignia at the 4 o'clock crown, and as I've just mentioned, both are loomed, adding to that already brilliant lume appeal. Now I found the crowns to be incredibly functional and well designed, allowing for a smooth adjustment without any risk of cross threading. In terms of water resistance, the D3 boasts a very impressive water resistance of 300 meters, 30 ATM, meaning that this watch is ready for anything from a swim in the pool to a real deep sea adventure, ensuring you can dive into the ocean and dive deep without any second thought. And the fantastic spec of this watch just keeps coming, because at the heart of this watch is the Miyota 9039, a reliable premium automatic movement known for its durability and precision, 24 joules, 28,800 bph, hand-windable hacking, a Parashock anti-shock system, which is actually Citizen's proprietary anti-shock system. This movement will not let you down and is a true no-date movement with no phantom crown position. And that movement is contained behind this screw-down caseback, which in itself is a stunning piece of art, deeply engraved with a southern right whale, and the solid screw-down caseback as opposed to a skeletonized one displaying that Miyota 9039 is the right choice in my opinion. Now this watch speaks compact and bold, and an exhibition caseback would seem far too complex and intricate for this watch in my opinion, so absolutely the right choice to give the whale a nod and showcase it on the back of this steel caseback. Now the engraving is detailed and deep enough to be noticed, yet shallow enough to ensure comfort on the wrist. You have essential information engraved around the perimeter, such as water resistance and individual serial numbering. Now all I've done is boast how cool this watch is, how great all the elements are to it, and my only real negative point is a subjective one, and that's this strap. Now when you buy the D3, it comes on a strap that is made from a combination of sailcloth and leather with stainless steel buckle, which is absolutely fine in itself. But I've chosen to review it on this, the 22mm quick release FKM rubber strap with butterfly deployment buckle, which is an optional upgrade and, by price alone, stands as DW's most premium strap available. Now as much as I love the feel of the FKM rubber, and the fact that the white looks absolutely brilliant in my opinion, especially when paired with this Antarctica variant, I have to admit that the deployment clasp wasn't my cup of tea. Now I found it a little bit uncomfortable on the wrist, especially after longer wear, and is a complicated clasp where complication doesn't need to exist. Now there's absolutely nothing wrong with the default strap the D3 comes with, but this white looks totally cool. I just found the butterfly deployment a little fiddly and a little bit uncomfortable, so I'd personally upgrade to the 22mm quick release white FKM rubber with a standard stainless steel buckle. That said, if a butterfly deployment clasp doesn't bother you, then this band is a perfectly fine option. On my 7.5-inch wrist, the D3 wears, well, what can I say, it wore pretty good. Okay, that clasp was a little bit annoying from time to time, but like I say, it's all subjective, right? Now the short lugs and the bellied shape makes this feel smaller than its dimensions suggest. 42mm by 42mm seems it would wear quite large, but it feels a little more snug, though quite weighty at 125 grams on the FKM rubber. Plus the round shape of the case really pulls everything together, making it look sleek and balanced without any awkward overhang. For me, the bold white dial and the 22mm strap makes for a very assertive feel on the wrist, and one I'd say definitely catches the eye with its very distinct design. Now I wore around the streets of Rouen in northern France wearing Nike Air Force 1 Pandas, shorts and a tee, and it really felt the part, what with that striking white strap and pretty vivid dial, and actually the two crowns that really protrude from the case, adding to that overall boldness of this watch. In terms of price, the D3 comes in at very reasonable $379 USD, equating to around about 285 Great British Pounds, 342 Euros, and actually I say reasonable, but now I've said those prices out loud, I want to say an absolute steal. So okay, let's bear in mind that this doesn't come on a steel bracelet, there is no steel option available, and in fact I personally don't think that this watch belongs on a steel, but if you consider the very well built case, the utterly fantastic sandwich dial sporting those brilliant indices, and in a bezel, the overall designs, the movement, and the great and unique experience you'll get by having this in your collection, then yes, I genuinely believe that the price is utterly brilliant and up there with one of the helm dive watches like the Kuraburi in terms of brilliant value for money. Well, what can I say, the D3 is a truly special timepiece in my opinion, from its intricate design, inspired by the southern right whale, to its functionality. It's the perfect blend of style and, well, I guess purpose. Now not only does it offer excellent performance as a tool watch, but it also carries a deeper message of conservation and awareness, which resonates with today's environmentally conscious audience, not least myself. I also think it looks absolutely brilliant on the wrist too, especially on this white FKM rubber. Now after spending a lot of time with this watch in Rouen, I can confidently say that it's something that has become a bit of a favourite of mine. I mean, I'm not going to lie, it's up there with my top 5 favourite designed watches in my watch case, and it's something that I think looks bold, looks stylish, and has a bit of a quirky feel, but that its purpose adds another layer of cool to the overall D3 experience.
you learn keyboard and mouse, it'll be 200.
Try to get my right hand out first. Oh, I'm just right into the nose.
Go and do it quicker.
If you like the walk around of Rouen, why not take a look at my review of the stern glass Naos automatic, whereby I visit the lovely streets of Lille, here in France. Thanks for watching, and I hope you have a brilliant day.